Meeting called to order. Councilmember Chapman.
Here.
Councilmember Clayton.
Here.
Councilmember Kendall.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here.
We will now have a silent prayer, a moment of reflection. Please stand. We will now salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the following manner. The annual notice was forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Coaster, and the Star Ledger on January 7th, 2021, and posted on the bulletin board the same date. All notices are on file with the city clerk. We are now on to special event applications.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first application will not be happening, so there's no need to discuss that one. Moving on, the next is National Night Out in Springwood Park on August 3rd. And a request from AYF to have a double Dutch contest in Springwood Park on August 28th. Next is the annual Family Day Surf Riders Family Day at the beach on August 7th. A Day of Hope concert in Springwood Park on August 7th. The Santa Run on December 4th. Annual free movies on the beach, August 12th through the 26th. And as usual, a list of movies will be provided. Oyster Fest, now known as Asbury Park Fest, September 24th through the 26th in Bradley Park. Ghost Skate Together Initiative in Springwood Park from 4 to 6 p.m. on July 24th. The Eid Muslim prayer on July 20th in Springwood Park. Next is the Gay Bar Memorial Plaque Ceremony that was held on June 29th. And last but not least is the Level Up Safety Workshop to be held in Springwood Park on July 21st. Are there any questions on anything? If not, thank you.
I'm just going to give you a shout out, Leisha, for the camp program. I know that you struggled getting buses and then activities. And so just wanted to say great job moving that program forward.
Thank you.
Yep.
We're now on to matters from City Council. Councilmember Chapman.
I've got nothing at this time.
Councilmember Clayton.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Councilmember Kendall.
I also have nothing at this time.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
The city is giving out, this is the one time I have something. The city is, and we're actually voting on a number of grants tonight. The city is giving out $2,500 to small businesses that suffered during COVID. There's some criteria in order to get this money. I think we're giving out 10 or 15 of them tonight. How many? 13. I stand corrected between my 10 and 15. Thanks for that important clarification, Michael. But anyway, we're giving out several of them tonight and still open for applications. Really looking forward to trying to support some of our small local businesses in town. So if you don't own a business, maybe you could spread the word among businesses to get this grant.
I have nothing, thank you.
Matters from Deputy City Manager.
I have nothing at this time. Thanks, Melody.
Matters from the City Attorney.
And I have nothing at this time either, Melody. Thank you.
Okay, we will now move on to the public participation portion of the meeting. May I have a motion to open the public comment portion of the meeting with a 3-minute time limit for each speaker?
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any member of the public who wishes to be heard, please go to the mic, state your name and address for the record, and each speaker will be granted 3 minutes.
Brandon in the back.
Do you want to go first? Yeah. Maureen Nevin, Asbury Park. Yeah, so the meeting on July 8th of the Rent Control Leveling Board, there's some events that have come to the fore today, which I guess the most outstanding one is that the chair of the board, Peter Siegel, is the boss. He actually employs the Allison Guida, who is a member of that board. And I'd like to know what the council intends to do about that conflict of interest.
Is that all your questions?
Well, there's also the question of what's going to happen to Mr. Murata, the attorney for the board, who Mr. Siegel attempted several times to have removed from the board.
Okay, finish all your questions and then we'll answer.
And I understand, I haven't been able to confirm this with Eileen, but I understand that Eileen selected Ms. Guida. I'd like to know whether that is fact and whether or not the council is going to look into these matters. I was glad that Deputy Mayor Quinn suggested that they change the board meeting so that the public session would be in the beginning of the meeting. And I wish we would do that for the council as well.
This is a public session.
I'm sorry, to the end of the meeting. I'm sorry. Kind of ran over here from Bradley Beach or Belmar. Sorry. There's some questions for our attorney, Mr. Raffetto, which maybe he will address. I sent him an email today. Did you receive that yet, Mr. Raffetto?
I did receive your email, and my apologies. Today was a very, very hectic day for me, but I actually did print it out, and I have it with me here. So, have you finished all of your questions, or do you have anything further?
I think that's about it. Is my time up yet?
Nope.
Oh, you still have time.
Oh, 37 seconds. There are probably other things, but perhaps they will come up during your answer to me.
Okay, so that's it?
Are you?
Sorry.
Okay, let me answer a couple easy ones and I'll turn it over to Fred.
Okay.
The entire council voted on all the representatives to the board, so it wasn't one person selected. All five of us voted on the representative to the board. The attorney, Ms. Murata, is still the attorney to the...
Could you speak up a little bit? I'm sorry.
The attorney is still the attorney to the rent level board. And the first part was the entire council voted on all the applicants that were selected and appointed to the board. So all five of us voted on all of them. And all of them were unanimous. So it wasn't one person, it was all five of us. And then Fred, you can go from there.
Yes, just to follow up on the mayor's comment about Mr. Murata, who is present with us this evening. He was appointed by the mayor and council and will continue to serve in his capacity as the attorney assisting the city with rent control matters generally and assisting the rent control board, notwithstanding the actions that took place at that meeting. And I will also reiterate that the choice of the members of the board and the alternates was made by the entire council, not by any one council member in particular. That there was a notice that was put out. I believe it was discussed at council meetings to put the word out for anyone who was interested in serving on the board to submit an application. My understanding was that there really weren't a ton of applications that were submitted, but ultimately the entire council made the appointments. With regard to the one individual in person who you referenced, Ms. Guida, I will be getting in touch with Ms. Guida directly about issues concerning her service, her continued service on the board. So that matter is going to be addressed.
What about the chairman as well?
I'm sorry?
And what about the chairman as well? Because he was obviously in conflict. That was the conflict, nature of the conflict.
The city is going to be addressing all issues, but my immediate reaching out will be to Ms. Guida, who was appointed as a tenant representative to the board, and there are issues involved with her continued service in that capacity under the circumstances given her employment. And with regard to your email of today, You had asked why were the initial board member terms expiring at year end. The simple answer to that was in order to start the staggering process. The terms will ultimately be for 3-year periods, and some board members will be appointed for 3 years, some for 2 years, and some for 1. But we wanted the board to be on the same schedule with all the other boards and commissions who are appointed regularly at the reorganization meeting in January. So the initial appointments were all made until December 31st, at which point in time the full appointments for either 3 years, 2 years, or 1 year to start the staggering process will be made at the reorganization meeting. And you also asked about whether amendments to ordinances have to be made by subsequent ordinance rather than by resolution. That is correct. An ordinance can only be modified or amended by way of another ordinance, not by way of a resolution.
By another ordinance?
Yes,
Yeah.
which requires a public hearing.
Yeah. Because isn't there
Okay,
one?
Maureen, your time's up. Next. Thank you.
Hello, council and mayor and everyone here tonight. My name is Brandon Chewy. I'm here on behalf of the Asbury Park cannabis community. We were here
Mr.
back
Chewy, please state your address for the record.
Yes, 224th Avenue, Asbury Park. I was here in 2015 when this council voted to decriminalize cannabis. And I'm here tonight not to take up your time, but to thank you, to thank each and every one of you, every member of this council, for prohibiting the business of cannabis in this city. Because right now, legalization, the framework that the state has brought, that we the people have voted to integrate cannabis legalization, the framework that our senators and our assemblymen have put together is an upper 1% oligopoly. It does not help this city. It does nothing for the people that have been disenfranchised, marginalized, and just stepped on and arrested for decades and decades and decades. You're going to hear from a bunch of lobbyists, a bunch of people, a bunch of investors, and you have been, and I commend you because this city has been a hotspot since 2015. I know you've been bombarded by investors and lobbyists and you name it. I know it, and it's going to happen today too. But I thank you from the bottom of my heart and all of the members of our organization. Thank you so much for not giving in and opting in to legal cannabis sales in the city of Asbury Park at this time. There needs to be inclusion for the individuals that have been disenfranchised and the small businesses, especially the Black community that has been stepped on in Asbury Park for decades. In order to get a legal license, okay, if you were to opt in, as you know, 1 or 2 facilities, maybe 1 or 2, since we're a small city, would get permitted. And they will be owned by a local representative who will be funded by somebody that's worth $500 million. And they're using minority licenses, they're using veteran licenses, they're all puppets, and you know this. And I commend you for opting out for now. And I do hope that you work, and if you would like to include our organization on the planning of permits or other drug policy, we would gladly contribute. And I'm just here to thank you for opting out of the current cannabis sales. The current legalization that Governor Murphy has signed the deal on is exploitative to the 111,000 medical marijuana patients that need this medicine as an alternative to opioids. I was an opioid addict for 11 years. It almost killed me. Marijuana has saved my life. I've had this nonprofit for almost 7 years now, and I don't have a lick chance in hell at getting an ownership licensed dispensary. And my organization has sent over 1,300 medical marijuana patients prescribed to their doctors and are now suffering off of opioids.
Time's up.
Thank you guys for your vote, and thank you for prohibiting business sales until we can get it proper for the city and empower our city instead of further.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon.
Hugh Giordano, Blackwood, New Jersey, Mayor, Council. I'm here today as a representative of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, UFCW. The UFCW is a national labor union of 1.3 million hardworking families, and we're the official cannabis labor union under the guise of the AFL-CIO, representing medical and adult use. We oppose the opt-out because this is an attack against working class people, an attack against middle class jobs. I'm here to talk about the worker side of it within the bill. The bill that in New Jersey has the strongest labor protections in it in the country. In fact, Connecticut and Virginia took our labor protections here in New Jersey and copied it and have it in their adult use bills. The labor law here in New Jersey will make sure that these facilities are run and operated union. What does that mean? That means a living wage. That means healthcare, dental, vision, sick time, paternity leave, and a voice on the job. These are jobs that people need today, right now, so they take care of their families. This is an opt-out is not helping Asbury Park in any way. In fact, it's hurting it because people in this community need jobs. They need living, sustainable jobs, not boardwalk jobs. They don't take care of nobody. We need careers, people that can get their 25-year plaque from their facility and retire with dignity. The bill gives you direct access to put in things to protect workers and citizens, social equity applications. The city of Bayonne did the hard work. The city of Bayonne sat down, have renewal fees, application fees, and most importantly, they have a merit-based application system. So just like the last speaker spoke about, there's ways to protect citizens, protect small business, protect workers, and protect visitors. Look at things such as environmental standards. If they polluted in Colorado using illegal pesticides, they'll do it here in Asbury Park. If they fought workers' rights in Illinois, they'll do it here in Asbury Park. So it's important that when we do pass something, that it has things in there that protect workers. This is a mistake on behalf of working people. This also attacks the building trades because the carpenters, the steam fitters, the IBW, they would be doing the build out and retrofit these facilities. So it's a shovel to sail attack on working class people. That's what the opt-out is. I would also like to suggest that you visit the Garden State Dispensary. It's one of the first unionized facilities in the state. It organized when the Chris Christie administration was in office. They're transparent. It's seed to sale. You can see the whole operation for yourself. So you don't have to hear what ifs and that and this and Aunt Millie in Colorado. You can actually go and visit and see it yourself. Please, we're asking you on behalf of the UFCW, table this ordinance, adopt an ordinance that actually allows workers to have a chance in Asbury Park, and stand with workers' rights. This vote today will be to attack on workers' rights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody here today is tall. Hi, I'm Sylvia, the director of the Asbury Park Chamber of Commerce at 1201 Springwood Avenue. I just wanted to say a couple of quick things. One, regarding the holiday weekend, I just really wanted to commend, and as I always mention, our PD, EMT, FD, what a great job they do for us all the time. But particularly this time is DPW. I heard nothing but wonderful things about how clean the city was over the holiday weekend from our visitors. And we had a lot of visitors. People seem to be coming back and really enjoying rediscovering Asbury Park after such a long time away. Everything looked wonderful. Everything was really fantastic. I also wanted to just acknowledge we had a ribbon cutting today over in our shared space on 1201 Springwood, and Mayor Moore and Councilwoman Clayton were there. Thank you both. A law firm opened up over right where we are in the southwest quadrant of Asbury Park. And I'm not positive, but I believe it might be the first law firm to open in that area in 50 years. Weisberg and Klauber, I always mess up his name. Wonderful people. Adam Weisberg used to own the Saint. Their main offices are in Ocean Township, but their philosophy is that equality under the law doesn't matter if there isn't equal access to representation. So that's why they opened up their satellite over there by us, which made me realize there's not a lot of professionals in the area, like doctors and lawyers and accountants and such. So I hope this is the beginning of a lot more to come over by us. And thank you guys for everything that you've been doing and everything that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Rita Morano, 504 8th Avenue, Asbury Park. We had, a week ago Tuesday, there was an event going on in the city, and I called up to find out about it. Well, I called up to find out about it. I called the girl that was in charge of the website. She didn't know anything about it. She said she'd call me back, and she did. She called the city manager, and the city manager said nothing was going on. And here there was a huge event with the Attorney General coming down, putting a plaque in the Pocket Park. By the way, that is not 810, 812 Cookman Avenue. Cookman, this is a little history lesson. Cookman Avenue used to run right down to the railroad, and I think Councilman Clayton knows that because she lives on Cookman Avenue. And that's where the incident happened. And it wasn't about one kind of a person. It was about what was going on inside this bar. And I wish somebody would have read the court case, that one of the few cases the city ever won with the ABC. It was about a bar called the Paddock Lounge. I know it well. And I think Louise knows it well. I don't know if John was here then, but it went right down to Cookman Avenue. That's where that sign belongs. It doesn't belong on Main and Cookman. That's not the proper place for it. And I don't understand. How do they get a permit in one day? One day. They get an application, they email the board that approves special events, and all of a sudden they have a permit to do things. How does that happen in one day? Everybody else has to apply, put an application in, wait until the board meets, then it comes back to council. And I mean, you're not doing things right. I'm very upset with that because it makes you feel, as a taxpayer, it makes you feel that there are a lot of shady things going on, and it shouldn't be. You ran on being open, transparent. It's nothing like that. It's absolutely nothing like that. 810, 812 Main Cookman is right in the middle of the transportation center now. That's where the sign belongs. It doesn't belong on Cookman. What is this fake news that we have to hear now? We have it in Asbury? Fake news? Well, that was fake news because that never happened. Read the court case. It wasn't about certain people. It was about what was going on in the bar. And for Asbury to win the case and then to have an appeal and win that too, that's really a miracle because we hardly ever win a case in this town, as far as I know.
Okay.
So what's going on?
Finish your sentence.
Who's running the city?
Okay. Thank you, Rita.
Well, if I have an answer?
Michael, do you want to respond?
Yeah, the application for that event followed the normal special event application process. It was
I
submitted.
can't hear you.
The application for that event followed the normal special event application process. It was submitted. Alicia Floyd, who's the special events director, sent it out to the special events committee who reviewed it. There were no concerns. The event happened and it's on the agenda for approval tonight.
Oh, wait a minute.
No,
All of us have to put applications in.
Rita, your time's up.
I know
Louise?
my time is up, but that has to be corrected. That
Okay.
sign has to be moved.
Okay.
Because it doesn't belong there. And Mrs. Clayton knows that. You live on Cookman, right?
Okay, Rita,
She
thank you.
lives there.
okay.
She should have said something that night.
Louise
Louise Murray, 1604 Grand Avenue, Asbury. Piggyback on Rita, I want to know, because I don't know, I've been away from council a while, is this city not run by the city manager? The city manager, according to our form of government, runs the city. Council people are to set policy, period. How do you go and have an event The city manager knows nothing about it. The event planner, by the way, didn't know anything about it. I mean, I don't know who's running what. I mean, you just willy-nilly decide, oh, let's do this. Let's call the governor's office. Let's put a plaque here. Let's stripe the street. Let's do whatever. I don't get this. I don't get this at all. The city a lot of times people are on John, and it's not John, it's the city manager. And I'm not pointing at you. You know. You're just sitting there trying to look as pretty as she is. And the bottom line is what's going on? You just decide, okay, I'm going to do this because we think a certain class of people were offended. Well, I'm offended. I have news for you. Born and raised here, I was this big. During World War II, when I grew up, we used to have flags in our windows. If any serviceman that was in the service, they would have a red flag or a little star. God forbid it would be a gold star. I used to have to go to Mr. Cooper, and this was during the World War II, with ration stamps. Did we care if he was Jewish or German? No. And I am offended by this whole thing with the gay community, the black community, and the whole McGill. Because this city was gay long before the new people came into town. Long before. We had a lot of businesses that were run by gay people, and no one cared. We supported them, and we supported the black community and the whole 9 yards. So I'm kind of like offended by this whole thing. But I want to know who's running the city. I have 8 minutes, whatever.
Thank you, Louise. And you're right, in our form of government, and you know because you're a former council person, mayor and council set policy and the day-to-day operations are run by the city manager.
But she didn't know it, John. She didn't know it was
That's
going
the first.
How did that happen?
I'm not sure if she knew it or didn't know it. She's on vacation.
Wait, one more thing. I got a couple minutes.
No, you got a couple seconds. Go ahead.
You said that the event's going up now, and when it took place. I don't
Well,
understand
it's
this.
still because it has to be passed after the fact, even though it happened.
Well, why did you do it then? Because you wanted to get into the Gay Pride Month?
No.
Is that what it was all about?
No.
Well, that's what I think it was all about.
Michael, did you want to? No. Okay. Thank you, Louise. What's he going to do?
Tracy Rogers, Sewell Avenue. I want to talk about two issues. The private beach club. And, you know, we talked about this issue over and over, but I just want to address that. I don't understand how we have disassociated FEMA regulations that all requirements have to be met, but we disassociated during the planning board process, which I don't think is reasonable if we had to meet all obligations and we went 2 years on understanding. If someone can explain that to me. But going now to the rent stability board issue, I'm very upset at issues that I found out. And I've addressed it with those people about people being placed and stacked on boards and the mitigation that, you know, we try to sit here and make sure disenfranchised people have been hurt and being pushed out of Asbury for escalating rents, for inhabitable conditions. And then we get to a point where I think that we're trying to come together and we see things show up or get happening that just are this disgraceful, you know, to put people on boards who have conflict of interest. And I'm gonna state it personally because I know when you have a conflict of interest, because I stood on the streets with Peter Siegel, and I've said this to him, that when I saw him address one of his contractors to see who was gonna vote. And I stopped him and I said, oh, let me ask him, does he know what he's voting for? He said, no. Anybody that goes with me, anybody I pay goes with me. That's conflict of interest. We have somebody working for somebody. That's a conflict of interest. And we need to address these situations, because if we want an equitable situation in this community, we need to sit down and talk about real equity. And real equity means sitting down and being honest about people who have been hurt, disenfranchised, or can't voice for themselves. So, I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forward. And I've tried to work with this council, and we've had some agreements, but we have a long way to go. And I want to see us get there. Thank you. And if you could answer the question on how the planning board disassociated that process, I would love to understand it on a private beach club.
Okay, I think we answered this 40 times 2 weeks ago, where we disagree with that analysis. Planning board wasn't disassociated. We said publicly, when the plans are submitted, everybody will be told. And when the plans are submitted, they will be reviewed by the floodplain manager. They will be reviewed by our engineer. And if they don't meet any requirements, be it FEMA, DEP, or anything, the pool club will not be built. And it's as simple as that. And that's the state law. That's the law that's going to happen. And as far as your second subject, before you got here, we addressed it. And Fred, if you want to reiterate as far as what's being done, go ahead.
Yes, the city is going to be addressing issues that arose at the last Rent Control Board meeting, including the situation involving one of the members of the board who, from what I understand, is an employee of a landlord or an entity that is involved in the rental of residential properties. And as a tenant representative to the board, it is the city's position that that is inappropriate, and I will be addressing that with the member of the board immediately.
Thank you.
Hello, Felicia Simmons, 1034 Sewell Avenue, Asbury Park. I stand in my official capacity as Monmouth Ocean County National Action Network President. I'll take my mask off. Right. I said I stand in my position as Monmouth Ocean County President of the National Action Network. And my concerns are coming specifically for the allocated money through the Rescue Act given to Asbury Park, granted to Asbury Park on behalf of the poverty disparity in Asbury Park, specifically here, and which I think is about $10 million. $10 million for the city, and I believe 13 to 14 for the school district. The reason it was granted to specifically Asbury Park is to address some of those needs of housing, employment, infrastructure, other those things. And I believe that the community as a whole needs to be part of the decisions of the allocation of these funds. It is imperative, specifically speaking with the Biden administration on these allocated funds through the Rescue Act, being specifically explained on all parts about the implementation of this Rescue Act. I would love to know the city's plan, and are they going about making a co-op, and also speaking to the HUD chairperson about these funds. And he referring to saying that the need for the community's input, not just the want or aside, but the specific need that he needs to see when things are being submitted for his approval on the allocation. So saying all of that, I'm asking what is the plan for the city council to roll out these initiatives and have the real community input from the grassroots up for the city, so we can use that infrastructure money to betterment of the city going forward.
That it?
That's all.
Good question. It's something we really haven't gotten too far into the weeds yet, because truthfully, we haven't gotten great guidance from me at Washington. I've been on several calls with Congressman Pallone and Senators Menendez and Booker. Excuse me?
Can you use your mic?
I'm trying to. Is it not working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Better? Okay, we haven't really gone into the weeds yet about that because of poor information from Washington as far as how we can actually spend this money. I remember being on the conference call when Pallone was on the Congress floor, and it was a Thursday, it was Friday, and it was being passed over. He was voting on it, and this is the original bill. It's going over to the Senate. Right then, it could be spent on everything and anything, and it could be reduce taxes, do this, do that, do that. And then the Senate changed the bill, and nobody told us they changed what it could be spent on. So then we found that out. And then right now, it's still like you can spend it on infrastructure, sewer plant, and other things. And so right now there is no plan yet because we're still waiting for more guidance from the federal, because what we don't want to do is spend it and give it back.
Exactly. I was just recently on a phone call with the Biden administration for leaders, civil leaders and faith-based leaders, where they rolled out implementation of the plan. So they sent some guidance, and I can also help you with the contact into the governors, to the Biden's administration that's allocated for New Jersey in this specific area.
Okay, anything yet, please send it to us. But again, we're talking to Booker, Menendez staff and Pallone staff all the time. So, and they're trying to get us the information. At times, they're perfectly honest. So they're like, we're not sure ourselves. And, you know, and I'm not throwing them under the bus, but again, you know, they're like, you know, go ahead and spend it. Is the Secretary of Treasury going to take it back? Okay, Frank, are you going to guarantee that? So, you know, it's one of those questions like we'd rather be safe instead of jumping into something. So we're looking at it. Nothing's been spent yet, and we'll go from there, and we'll keep everybody abreast.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Peter Siegel, 1412 Main Street. Two questions this evening. Number one, is there any data metrics or report back on the new scooters that are going around, and how they're being used and who's using them, and are they safer, and is the new program achieving what we all hoped it would? It's the first thing. And the second thing is, as the chair of the Rent Leveling Board, I feel a need to come up here and respond because my name was mentioned in comments not long ago here on this mic. So the Rent Leveling Board had a chance to convene for the very first time last Thursday. Can you not do that while I'm talking? I would appreciate it. Thank you. The Rent Leveling Board had a chance to convene for the first time last Thursday, which is a good thing. Got the ball rolling. Had the chance to have a meeting. There was not that opportunity before. There was last Thursday. And the board's having a chance to come together and organize and get this ordinance out the door the way it was intended and the way it should. So that process is starting, and I'm happy about that. I think everyone's happy about that. And just quickly, I just have to respond because my name was mentioned. None of what Mr. Rogers said a moment ago was true. So since we're on the record, I have to just have the opportunity to say that. And in addition, there was an email that was sent out by Mr. Rogers to the public recently that was slanderous and had all sorts of wrong stuff in there as well. So that's not true either. And for those of you that may have seen it or whatever, I don't even know who saw it, but I had a chance to read it, and it was wildly inaccurate. And so I hope that we can move forward together and not have these attacks and this stuff happening. And whatever issues that have come up, I've heard twice tonight that the city council and city attorney are going to address them, and I guess we'll deal with it. But I just wanted to have a chance to respond to the comments that were made because my name was mentioned personally. So thank you for that opportunity. And I'd love to hear about the scooters if anyone has that answer.
Well, let me start off by saying, number one, thank you. And on the special events application on July 21st from 12 to 3, there's a level up safety workshop for safety for the scooters. And as far as any other, that's what I know. I'll let Mr. Manzel go on as far as the scooters themselves.
Thank you, Ms. Rayner. Yes, so we do track metrics for the scooters. We have a software called Ride Report that tracks all rides, shows where the trips start, where they end, what's the average trip destination. It counts how many trips we've had. I'm happy to say that we've had just about as many trips as we were having when we had the pilot program. So it has been very successful, and rides are starting and ending in all areas of the city, which is really one of the main goals of the program. In terms of safety, as Mayor Moore said, there'll be a safety event this Wednesday. In addition, this vendor has been very forthright in going out into the community and having ambassadors in talking to riders in providing safety tip information. Obviously, there's always more we can do. They are going to be launching another marketing campaign on safety. Fortunately, we are not aware of any major incidents or injuries with the program. So we're always looking to improve it in any way we can. So.
Mike, do you have any information on? I remember last year there was repeated incidents of, like kids or minors or whatever. There was like an age requirement, and they were just sort of using the scooters as recreational tools rather than for transportation. And I remember that there was issues of like parents swiping for the kids and that kind of stuff. Do we know anything? Like, is that still happening, or to what degree?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's probably still going to happen. We can't control a parent signing up an account and then giving their cell phone and their credit card to their minor. We are certainly going to be doing more outreach to the community to let them know that that's probably not a good idea for their own safety of their own children. But this vendor does have a rigorous age verification process. So we will continue to reach out to the community and continue with education.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Alexander Patrick Krasowski IV, 610 Sewell Ave, Monroe Towers, best building in the entirety of Asbury. I actually wasn't planning on getting up and speaking tonight.
Sir, could you please repeat your name? I missed it.
Alexander Patrick Krasowski IV. I wasn't planning on getting up and speaking tonight, but seeing as chairperson, please don't record me, that'd be great. Came up and introduced himself as chairman. I just want to express serious concern with that. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know whatever else was spoken, as it pertains to Mr. Siegel, but he owns property in this town that people rent. And how many times is this city going to come up against a conflict of interest in which a tenant that has an issue that they're bringing before the board has to have the chairman recuse himself because of the fact that he might be their landlord? I mean, I get it that you guys are dealing with it, and I trust that in dealing with this situation, it is not just removing his secretary, which in my opinion shows bad will in the first place. I do not believe he's presenting himself as a goodwill actor on this rent leveling board if he's willing to engage in that type of behavior from the get-go. And I know any good faith actor would see that type of behavior as truly prohibitive, not to mention being chairman and trying to stack the board. That's crazy. And not to mention the conflict of interest you bring. If you cared one iota for what this rent leveling board was doing, you would say from the get-go, not me as chairman. That's a huge conflict of interest. And that's absurd. I'm sorry. That's absurd. So I hope that in dealing with this issue, this is also that you also deal with this fact, because this board will not be effective if every single time something comes up, we have to have the chairman recuse himself. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing nobody else, make a motion to, sorry, go ahead, sir.
Hi, good evening. Mike Walzer. I live on 505 Sunset in Asbury Park for the last 18 years. I was wondering if I can get some help from the council. My house sits in the middle of the block. For the last 18 years, there's been a problem with the sewers on either side of me, on Amory and on Grand. From my understanding from Mr. Bianchini, who's been very helpful in trying to unplug or unclog them when they've been really bad, there are tree roots growing in the sewer on Grand, on one of the sewers. The other sewer, there's a pipe going into the lake that's been broken for the 18 years that I've been here. On Emory, there are 3 sewers. They're all blocked. My house sits in the lowest point, and I get water going from both ends. So there's 1.5 foot of water in a good rainstorm in front of my house. I find myself out there with a rake trying to get debris off the sewer that's in front of my house. I'm wondering if you guys can help me out and repair at least one or two of them so I don't get flooded out each time it rains.
Sounds like a honest request that should have been addressed years ago. And I know the house, I'm working for DPW, I know the drain in front of your house. And I know the one up on Grand and Sunset going into the lake has been broken for years. I thought that was getting fixed because Deal Lake Commission was putting a chamber there. So I thought that was supposed to be fixed. But if all of them...
Chambers haven't gone in yet, John. They haven't been delivered yet.
Okay, but that doesn't prevent DPW from going there. And just so everybody knows, when you say in sewers, it's stormwater runoff.
Drain.
Right, it's not the sewer pipes themselves, but it is. But if they're all, I mean, a backhoe and guys with shovels can dig out the ones on Emery. So, I mean, so
They've been trying, but he can't do anything about the roots in the one storm drain. And I'm figuring since the water company did some work on the street and they're supposed to repave, it would be a good time now, before they repave, rather than after, to dig up the street.
Point taken, point noted, and Michael's making notes, and we're going to look into it first thing in the morning.
We could look into it and see if there's
I really
something that
appreciate
could be
it.
done there.
It's been 18 years that I've been flooded out in front of my house, so I'm really asking for some help from you. Thank you.
Thank you, and apologize for being 18 years.
I love Asbury Park.
Chris Avalone, and that was my husband speaking. I'm co-owner of the house at 505 Sunset, and I just want to lend my voice. And I've been on the zoning board as its chairman for a very long time now, and I'm just asking for help as well. So that's all. And I appreciate all the work you guys do, and I know it's a lot. Thank you.
Again, I apologize, and guys, next time, don't wait 18 years to come to a council meeting. So again, I'm not making light of it. I know exactly where the storm drain is on your side of the street. I know where it is further down by the doctors, and I know where it is on Grand and where on Emery. So I think we can do something which isn't that hard to do to get some of them open fairly quickly. But you have our word, it's going to be looked into right away. Seeing nobody else, motion to close?
Second.
Move it. Second.
All in favor? Aye. The public participation portion of the meeting is now closed. We will move on to minutes. I have the minutes of the Municipal Council Executive Meeting of June 23rd and the Municipal Regular Meeting minutes of June 23rd. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're on to consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are presented collectively to the City Council and will be considered for approval with one vote. These matters are to be considered routine in nature. There will be no individual discussion of these items. If discussion is desired by one or more council members as to any particular item, then said item shall be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. We have on the consent agenda 2021-334 through 2021-336. Do I have a motion?
Move it?
Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're on to individual resolutions. The first individual resolution is the payment of bills, Resolution 2021-337. Councilmember Chapman is abstaining from 21-01610 and 21-01697. Do I have a motion?
Move it. Move it, Kendall.
Second. Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
No.
Resolution 2021-338, a resolution of the City of Asbury Park, the County of Monmouth, the State of New Jersey, providing for the insertion of special items of revenue in the 2021 budget of the City of Asbury Park pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-87, Chapter 159, Body Worn Camera Grant. Do I have a motion?
Move it?
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2021-339, a resolution of the City of Asbury Park, the State of New Jersey, providing for the insertion of special items of revenue in the 2021 budget of the City of Asbury Park pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-87, Chapter 159, Madison Marquette Donation Special Police Boardwalk. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2021-340, a resolution authorizing the execution of a First Amendment to a lease agreement, a temporary site with New Cingular Wireless PCS LLC. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
No.
Councilmember Clayton.
No.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
No.
Resolution fails. We're on to Resolution 2021-341.
I can bring it back.
A resolution authorizing a contract with Safety EMS and Safety Training LLC for fire department training. Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2021-342, a resolution authorizing payment for emergency repairs needed at the wastewater treatment plant. Motion.
Move it. Kendall.
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2021-343, a resolution authorizing payment to Asbury Park small businesses through the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, CV CARES Act Fund. Do I have a motion?
Move it. Kendall.
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2021-344, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the city of Asbury Park to amend subsequent developer agreement and other documents to the extent necessary with 1401 Ocean Avenue LLC to correct the name of the entity to be 1401 Ocean LLC. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2021-345, a resolution acknowledging and accepting a memorandum of understanding between the city and the state of New Jersey, Division of Local Government Services for transitional aid. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman. This was
an add-on.
Yes.
This gets us, it's an add-on, it gets us $286,000 from the state of New Jersey to increase bicycle lanes from the commercial areas to the beachfront.
Then yes.
Okay, I have a yes from Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes. Before we go to, was that it for resolutions, right?
Mhm.
Before we go to ordinances, Fred, I have a question for you. 2021-340 failed. If I voted the negative, can I bring it back? Just because if we don't pass this, I forgot it this time. If we don't pass this, we don't get paid for 7 months of money owed us. So that was my bad. Yeah, we got to get better microphones, and because, yep. I'm asking the attorney, since I voted in the negative, can I bring this back because it was my bad that if we don't pass this, we don't get 7 months worth of income owed to us by AT&T.
So yes, since you were part of the majority in that particular matter, defeating the passage of Resolution 2021-340, you can make a motion to bring it back on the floor before the council. And if you get a majority to bring it back for a vote, then there'll be a second vote once again on the resolution.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to bring 2021-340 back and looking for a second.
Second it.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Okay, we will now
Bring Resolution 2021-340 back for another vote.
2021-340, a resolution authorizing the execution of a First Amendment to the lease agreement temporary site with New Cingular Wireless PCS LLC. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second. Do I have a second?
Second.
More second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
No.
Councilmember Clayton.
No.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution passed. We're now on to Resolution 2021-28. This is an ordinance of the City of Asbury Park, amending Chapter 7 of the Code of the City of Asbury Park regarding traffic regulations pertaining to what consists in an abandoned vehicle. I'm looking for a motion to withdraw Ordinance 2021-28 due to the fact after this was introduced, we realized there was an error in the ordinance itself, citing the wrong chapter of the city code. So I'm looking for a motion to withdraw it.
Move to withdraw.
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're now on to ordinances for introduction. We will introduce 2021-29, which is an ordinance of the City of Asbury Park, amending Chapter 28 of the Code of the City of Asbury Park regarding health regulations pertaining to what constitutes an abandoned vehicle with a public hearing date of August 11th. Do I have a motion?
Move it, second, Kendall.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We are now on to second readings, public hearings. Our first ordinance up for public hearing is an ordinance prohibiting the operation of any class of cannabis business within the geographical boundaries of the City of Asbury Park, and amending and supplementing Article 7 entitled Zoning of Chapter 30, Land Development Regulations of the Code of the City of Asbury Park, as well as amending and supplementing all existing redevelopment plans relating to all redevelopment areas of the City of Asbury Park accordingly. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2021-25?
Move to open. Second.
All in favor? The public hearing is now open on ordinance 2021-25. Any members of the public who would like to be heard, please come to the mic, state your name and address for the record.
Felicia Simmons, 1034 Sewell Avenue. Felicia Simmons, 1034 Sewell Avenue, Asbury Park, New Jersey. My question is, I would like to re-see this. Most of the community doesn't know when we don't make these designations and we don't accept these ordinances, the money for the impact zone, which it baffled me when I was told that Asbury Park was an impact zone, because we are a shining example on what an impact zone is. We were hardly hit by this so-called war on drugs. We, as minorities in this area in Monmouth County, we are 7% of the population. We are 80% of the prison system. We sit back and we receive the harassment. Everything that describes an impact zone and what will come out of it has happened here in Asbury Park. And when we don't make these decisions decisions on behalf of the city of Asbury Park. We don't get the allocated funds to reverse those things. We don't get the allocated funds to start programs to help with the separation of parents from their children. We don't get the funds to help with the youth or the people about my age, the 30s and 40s who find themselves incarcerated and can't find employment and might want to start a business. We don't get any of those allocated funds when we don't accept these things. And the fact that it is legal, the fact that literally there's a huge dispensary in Neptune on the circle right on the cusp of Asbury Park, the fact that we are an example and we accepted this years before it was actually rolled out. We can make a better city, and these are some of the tools as the city can use to help fix the ills of the past and that are rolling into the future. So when I'm putting this on the record and saying that we need this, it is for us. We are a shining example of what can go wrong. And so this is a tool that can help us make it right. So I would say, don't implement it. Go back to the drawing board. Maybe work with the state to see maybe something that we feel will fit Asbury Park better, but don't take it off the table. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's just being taken off the table until there's better guidance from Trenton. The CRB was put together in February. They met once in April, and they met for the second time yesterday. Their next meeting, when they're going to release stuff, is the same date with a deadline to drop out, which is August 21st. So we're buying time for better guidance from Trenton, and we'll make the right decision then, and we'll put everything together by then. So I understand what you're saying, but just like a gentleman was here before you saying, we're not going to get money from the economic impact zone, and the people of color, the people that should get these facilities, be it the substations or satellites from the First Medicinals from the Christie administration, they're all billion-dollar corporations. And right now, no person of color, no person of low income, no person of anything is looking to get anything from the state of New Jersey the way it is right now. So we're hoping for some better language from the CRB. It's a great committee. They met yesterday and they put out some stuff as far as packaging and everything else. So we are still open, but we're just buying time till we get better guidance. Seeing nobody else, motion to close.
Move to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is now closed on ordinance 2021-25. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-25?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Now are on to our second public hearing of the evening, which is ordinance 2021-26, an amendment to the Main Street redevelopment plan. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2021-26?
Move to open.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is now open on ordinance 2021-26. Any members of the public who wish to be heard, please come to the mic and state your name and address.
Before we do that, Michelle, why don't you come up to the microphone and give a brief explanation about what this is about so people understand it, please.
Good evening. This is an amendment to the Main Street redevelopment plan for a specific project that is located at, or goes by the address 700 Monroe Avenue. It is a amendment to include lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of block 2503 into the redevelopment plan, and to permit an additional story of height than what is currently permitted in the Main Street redevelopment plan. Currently, if you do affordable housing, you can have 4 stories. This is an amendment for an additional 5th story. And this was a amendment request of a specific developer. And I do want to state that this plan had been amended to include affordable housing, and this project will have a 20% affordable housing requirement.
Okay, and do me a favor, stay there in case there's questions. Go ahead, Rita.
Where is that? What are you talking about? The one on Main Street?
Currently, it's a auto garage. It's across from.
I can't hear you.
It's on Main Street. It's currently an auto garage at the southeast corner of Main Street, and it goes down Monroe Avenue to
Yeah, that's the one I thought you would.
3/4 of the block.
Well, and that's the one that was going to be so many stories, and you're going to have affordable housing, a percentage, whatever that is. But then he decided, whoever the developer was, Saxon, I think, wants to put a penthouse up there. Is that right? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, we're talking about an additional story.
No?
Right, yes, we're talking about the plan to be amended for an additional story.
He wants to put another story, but you're not going to have any more affordable housing. Is that it?
The percentage remains at 20%.
But is it going to be of all the floors?
Yeah, 20% of all units.
Oh, because at one point, it was only going to be so many stories, then it decided it wanted to put a penthouse up there, right? And there's not enough parking there, is there?
This building will have parking in the building, and the parking is the standard in the Main Street redevelopment plan.
What does that mean?
It means that the building will have to conform with the parking requirements that currently exist in the Main Street redevelopment plan. We did not amend the parking requirement.
But there wasn't going to be enough parking, right? Shouldn't that be considered when he's asking for another floor?
I'm sorry, I missed the question, Rita. Say that again? Rita, what was your question?
I know where the location is. It's right in front of the Monroe Towers, which is overcrowded already.
No, it's not in front of the Monroe Towers. It's across from the Y building.
I know. That's the other side of the Monroe Towers. You said Monroe, right?
It's on Main Street.
Monroe and Sewell.
No, it's Main and Monroe.
Okay, I know where it is. Yes. Well, I think the building's tall enough. I don't understand why we're crowding all these people on Main Street. I mean, I just don't understand. You got to review that plan again. There's going to be too many cars here and too many people. This is only one little square mile. I mean, we keep talking about the redevelopment plan, but it doesn't fit the times. This is 2021. It's not 2002. But whenever that plan was put together, I don't understand how you're putting all these people on Main Street. It's got to be looked at again. You're creating a real big problem. Everybody wants bicycles. There's not going to be room for bicycles. I mean, I just don't get it. And why we give so much consideration to these people. They're land grabbers, all of them. But that's all. You know, it's going to happen, I know, but you're going to be sorry when it does.
Thank you, Rita.
Tracy Rogers Sewell, and I want to apologize, Rita, because part of it is my problem, but it kind of concludes with everything that the city worked on, and that they were going to get the land anyway, and they're going to build. So it's compensation for them building that they're able to. They say they can't make a good penny with the affordable, so they're asking for continual hike to compensate. So, you know, I want to thank the council. Like I said, I will stand up with you guys when it's right. You made the decision. We're looking for the affordable housing. So, you know, I have to thank you for it, but I also have to take the responsibility what we're just giving you. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to be heard? Seeing nobody, take a motion to close.
Motion to close.
Move. Second.
Roll call. All in favor?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-26?
Move to adopt?
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Our last public hearing for the evening is ordinance 2021-27, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 5, Beach, Boardwalk, and Beachfront Regulations of the Code of the City of Asbury Park. Before we open, Mayor Moore, do you want to have someone give a brief review?
Fred, do you want to do it?
Yes. So previously, smoking of tobacco had been for a long time prohibited on the beachfront in Asbury Park. What this ordinance is doing is it's expanding to also prohibit using any kind of vaporizing devices, as well as the smoking of cannabis anywhere on the beachfront, the public beaches of the city of Asbury Park, as well as the boardwalk. So we're now including the boardwalk as an area where smoking is prohibited. Before we open up the public hearing, I did want to bring to the council's attention that after the ordinance was introduced, Deputy Chief Thompson reached out to me and requested that the council consider adding some clarifying language with regard to the extent of the prohibition along the boardwalk areas, so as to make the reference consistent with how the language reads regarding the prohibition of bicycles, skateboards, and rollerblades. And in that section of the city code, which is section 5-4.9, in addition to specifying the boardwalk, it says, including any of the arcades, public walks, ramps, and public sidewalks adjacent thereto. And that's really a clarification of the extent of the prohibition relating to the boardwalk. If council is amenable to including that language, we would just need to have a motion and a second and a vote to amend the ordinance to include that language. I do not consider it to be an amendment which substantially alters the substance of the ordinance, such that you would have to reintroduce it. So you could proceed with the public hearing on the ordinance as amended this evening and then adopt it. So if you're amenable to including that additional language at the request of the deputy chief, then we would just need a motion and a second and a vote to add that additional language. And again, it would be consistent with the language that exists regarding bicycles, skateboards, and rollerblades.
Should we do that vote before the public?
Before the public hearing. That way the public can comment on it.
Okay, then we need a motion to amend.
I'll make a motion to amend.
Second. Okay, we have a roll call. Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Okay, so we will.
So the ordinance as amended will now be open to the public.
Okay. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2021-27?
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is now open on ordinance 2021-27. Any members of the public who wish to be heard, please come to the mic, state your name and address for the record.
I think I got it. Louise Murray, 1604 Grand Avenue, Asbury. How are you going to monitor this? I mean, right now,
Can you, hold on a second. Can somebody tell them to take that outside?
how are you going to monitor this? I mean, are you going to give them tickets? You can't even control what's going on now. I mean, you have the bicycles and you have this and you have that. You have the scooters, by the way. I saw something the other day. A man with his child that couldn't have been 5 years old on the scooter in front. How do you protect these people if they don't know what they're doing? They're not wearing helmets, but that's okay. I guess you don't have to. But how are you going to monitor this? You're going to see somebody vaping on the boardwalk. Are you going to have special police? You can't even get them to put shoes on their feet. You know, I mean, I once wanted them to wear cover-ups, and I was going to get killed for that. How are you going to make them wear cover-ups? When you come off the beach, you tell them to put a cover-up on. That's all. It's plain as. But how are you going to do this? Are you going to give them tickets? I mean, I love the idea. I think it's great. Be nice not to have all that smoke floating around or whatever. But I just want to know, how are you going to be able to do this? Is this going to cost the city more money, that you're going to have to hire special police officers to say, okay, guy, you know, are you going to post on the boardwalk that you're going to be fined if you're caught doing this? I don't know. I mean, isn't it open-ended here? Can somebody explain that to me?
Yes, we're going to, excuse me. Tonight, it will be passed, then it has 20 days to go into law in case somebody wants to challenge it. And our police and our specials will be on the boardwalk and warning people now, and then like a soft opening. And then when it's time to enforce, there's enforcement provisions in this violations in this ordinance. And it'll be like a police giving a ticket for speeding or anything else. Just the police will enforce it. Violations are in this ordinance.
Well, I like it, but I think you're going to have your hands full, plain and simple. I like it. I think it's a good word.
I agree with you. You should never adopt an ordinance that you can't enforce. And sometimes we've been a little bit like slow on maybe some of the dogs and some of the bicycles and everything, but that doesn't mean we can't pick it up and, you know, do a good job on the smoking. So we'll try our best. I'm sure we'll miss a couple of people, but we'll do it as good as we can. Thank you.
And the violations are $250 penalty for the first offense, $500 for the second offense, and $1,000 for each subsequent offense.
Hi, Tracy Rogers. So is there going to be a lot more signage put up so people are much more aware? Is that going to be included, and what is the expense of that?
Sure.
Michael? Signs are on order, anticipating the adoption of this ordinance tonight. So they will go up as soon as the 20 days has passed.
Okay.
With an ordinance number on the signs.
Yes.
So they know, so it holds up in court.
What color?
No, that's not a bad question. I guess red and white is enforcement.
I believe they're red and white, but I can confirm that.
I don't know.
Motion to close.
Seeing no other questions? Yep.
Motion to close.
Move to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is now closed on ordinance 2021-27. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-27?
Move to adopt?
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
No.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're now on to adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is now adjourned.